Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So today we have $1,900 payments going out on average to certain Social Security beneficiaries. We're going to be going over who. Plus today we have the primary for both the Republican Party as well as the Democratic Party in the state of New Hampshire. We're going to be going over whether or not Nikki Haley has a chance of taking down Donald Trump, and why actually Joe Biden looks like he's going to lose the state of New Hampshire, but why it really doesn't matter anyways. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you would mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $9,000 in free stocks or $9,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Webull. All you got to do is once you click on that link, it's just open up a free account and then deposit at least one penny. At that point, Webull will be sending you at least 3 free stocks worth all the way up to $9,000. And if you do not want to invest at this point in time and you'd rather have the cash, all you got to do is once you receive those free stocks is just sell them for what they're worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video, and that is the primaries being held today in the state of New Hampshire, and it's going to be held for both the Republican Party as well as the Democratic Party. Now, interestingly enough, in New Hampshire, it's always been a tradition to kick off the primary on this date to lead off the Democratic primaries. And this year, the DNC actually decided, well, you know what, since Joe Biden usually doesn't do too well in the state of New Hampshire, we actually want the first primary to be led off in South Carolina. And for you guys in New Hampshire, well, you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to push back your primary a little bit later. But the governor there, of course, said that no, we're not going to wait. We're gonna go ahead and hold it on the same date. So therefore, because they decided to do that, the DNC is now saying that every vote that's casted in the state of New Hampshire will not count. So even if Joe Biden loses the state of New Hampshire and someone else wins, say whether it be Marianne Williamson, Dean Phillips, or whoever else is on the ballot and ends up winning, well, their votes are pretty much not going to count. So, you can call that a rigged election, whatever you want. It sure seems like a rigged election to me. But actually, last night at midnight, there was a certain area of New Hampshire which traditionally starts voting at midnight the day of the election. And so far, Nikki Haley has a 6-vote lead, 6 votes for Nikki Haley and 0 votes for Donald Trump. So according to CNN, voters in Dixville Notch have cast the first votes in the New Hampshire primary, with all 6 voters choosing former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. The tiny town in northern New Hampshire opened and closed its poll just after midnight Eastern time on the morning of the state's primary. 4 registered Republican voters and 2 independents participated in the vote, in which former President Donald Trump, the frontrunner for the GOP presidential nomination, failed to earn support. So basically, Dixville Notch, it's the northern tip of the state. They're the first place to declare primary results because voters there cast ballots so early. Its midnight voting tradition dates back to 1960. But, all in all, it's probably not going to matter, even though Nikki Haley does have a 6-vote lead. All in all, if we look at the polling here, on average, Trump does lead the state by 18 points. So whenever voting comes in tonight, I do expect Trump to have a double-digit lead. Now, as far as Joe Biden goes, they're not talking a lot about the Democratic primary there, but it looks like Joe Biden is probably going to lose the state, and that's because he's not even going to be on the ballot. The DNC, the Democratic Party, is pretty much boycotting the state of New Hampshire, again, because, like I mentioned earlier on, New Hampshire did not want to move their election back because traditionally they've always held the first kickoff election for the Democratic Party, and the Democrats wanted to push that back to South Carolina first, mainly because Joe Biden normally doesn't do very well among New Hampshire voters, and they did not want to embarrass the current president by having him lose the first Democratic primary. So they go on to say here by NPR, this article here, that while most political attention has been focused on the state's Republican primary, the Democratic race has had some unusual twists. For one thing, Biden is not even on the ballot. Biden and the Democratic National Committee decided they wanted to start the primary process this year in South Carolina, so the results in New Hampshire won't even count towards the nomination. But Democratic volunteers and politicians in New Hampshire have been fighting to ensure that Biden wins the primary anyways. There are 21 candidates on the Democratic primary ballot, including Representative Dean Phillips and author Marianne Williamson. So, once again, the DNC is saying that even if Biden loses the state and someone like Dean Phillips win, your vote is not going to even count in the state, which essentially they're ensuring that no one other than Joe Biden has a chance to win the state of New Hampshire. And they're saying that whoever wins is not going to receive any points. So that's absolutely rigging the election, at least in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. But all in all, even if Biden does lose the state, and even if someone else did receive the votes there, you can see that among all Democratic voters, they prefer Joe Biden to be their guy. Among Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips, Joe Biden is absolutely their guy. He leads the polling by 63 points there on average, so it's not really going to matter anyways. But it should be interesting to see how Nikki Haley fares versus Donald Trump. And if Nikki Haley loses the state of New Hampshire by a wide margin, is she going to drop out? Is she going to join DeSantis and the others on the sidelines and throw her support towards Donald Trump and make it pretty much official that that Biden-Trump rematch is going to happen this year in 2024? It's going to be a rocky year ahead. Let's see how things unfold. Now, in some other news, of course, tomorrow there's going to be some more payments going out. The final round going out for for certain Social Security beneficiaries. Rather, these payments on average are going to be $1,900. So, according to AS, the date on which retired workers receive their monthly payment depends on their day of birth, while SSI beneficiaries are receiving their payments on the 1st of every month, so their next payment is going to be coming up on February 1st. Retirees whose birth dates fall from the 21st to the 31st can expect their benefits on the 4th Wednesday of the month, which of course is tomorrow on January 24th. And we can pull up the payment schedule here. Once again, we saw there were no payments going out for SSI beneficiaries on January 1st. That's because their payments were distributed back on the last Friday of December. So their January cost of living adjustment payments went out actually in the prior month in December. And we can see tomorrow on the 24th, these are the payments going out to Social Security beneficiaries born between the 21st and 31st of any given month. Skipping ahead to February, once again, we had those payments going out to SSI beneficiaries on February 1st. That's going to be a Thursday. Then for everyone else, it's going to be on February 14th, 21st, and 28th. And we can see on average, this year in 2024, after the 3.2% cost of living adjustment, all retired workers are receiving a little bit over $1,900, whereas age couples, both who are receiving benefits, are going to be receiving right around $3,033. And then among all disabled workers, $1,537 is going to be the average. Now, skipping ahead to another story regarding Social Security beneficiaries, the overpayment story just continue happening. People receiving these terrible, dreadful letters in the mail saying that they owe the Social Security Administration thousands of dollars, and until they repay that amount, even though it may have not even been their fault, they're not going to receive any more checks on a monthly basis. So this Palm Beach Gardens couple were told that they owe $81,000 after the Social Security Administration overpaid them. So in a series of letters, Kat Connor and Jim Leffield of Palm Beach Gardens received life-changing financial news from the Social Security Administration. Basically, what it says is they overpaid me a little over $81,000, Connor said. The overpayments allegedly happened over about 4 years. Until it's all paid back, the letter said, Connor's monthly disability payments will be on hold, along with her retirement benefits, too. So just imagine receiving a letter in the mail saying that you owe the SSA $50,000, $100,000, and until you pay back all that money, which, let's face it, they probably don't have this money racked up sitting in their checking or savings account to pay back immediately. I don't know how they're going to get the money, but until they pay that back, they're not going to receive any benefits at all. Terrible situation. You hate to see it. Hopefully they can come up with some sort of resolution to all these issues, because they're not the only ones facing this issue. Terrible situation. Let me know your thoughts in comments below. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.